and let us all do we can to build a better future.
All right, I'm dusting this one out. You might remember this classic way back in 2020 when the Democratic primaries were happening and everyone, including corporate media, was roasting Biden. And I created this new subject or this new title, this new conversation, this new statement. Every time Biden made a gaffe, did something stupid, just even looked senile, we would say from the top of our lungs, it's time to Biden it up. That's right. It's time to Biden it up. And we're going to Biden it up with Bidenomics. You've heard of Reaganomics? We've got Bidenomics. Jesus Christ. Vote blue no matter who. Okay, so in case you don't know, Joe Biden was in Chicago for a fundraising event, okay? And I find it ironic that yesterday, two presidential candidates, Joe Biden and RFK Jr., were here in the city of Chicago. And the thing is, we've got highlights of Biden speaking to the audience. And I have to say, number one, I am impressed, vote blue, no matter who. I'm going to give you this one. He was on stage for quite some time, but he didn't sound like he was making any sense whatsoever. So let's talk about Bidenomics and really just what the hell Joe 30330 is talking about. All right, President touts Bidenomics, though new poll shows only just 34% approve of his handling of the economy. So President Joe Biden made his pitch yesterday, Wednesday, to a skeptical public that the U.S. economy is thriving under what he touts as, get this, Bidenomics, even as a new poll showed that could be a hard sell as the foundation for his 2024 re-election campaign. Before I go further into this and start showing the highlights of Joe Biden speaking, which I have to say, vote blue no matter who. Your old dog can speak. It's just no one understands what he's talking about. Let's have democracy in the chat. I know it's controversial. What is democracy? A type 1. If you love Bidenomics, and Bidenomics has been great, you're living your best life, you're dancing around, no pants and everything. You're just doing great under Bidenomics. Type 2, what a horrific name for a horrific economy that we're in under a horrific administration. I don't know how I'm going to make it past tomorrow. That's Bidenomics. So in a major economic speech in Chicago, Biden and his administration's efforts were sparking recovery after Republican policies had crushed America's middle class. I can go further because if Americans really knew what Barack Obama and Bill Clinton did in their administrations to make our lives even miserable, they would be protesting in the streets, but don't worry. The social justice warrior industrial complex will tell all the activists to stay home and enjoy brunch because the Democrats in office, and they'll protect all of the workers' rights. They'll protect student debt forgiveness. They'll make sure that student debt forgiveness eventually happens. They'll fight for Medicare for all and protect the woman's right to choose. Oh, wait. No, they don't. But the poll said only 1 in 3 adults, U.S. adults, approve of his economic leadership. That 34% figure is even lower than his overall approval rating of 41%. 41%. I've talked about Biden being despised by Americans. Hey, TYT, majority report. Remember when you said you're going to hold Biden's feet to the fire and move him left? Hey, Bernie, your good friend. Joe, he's screwing it up. Bernie, you nutless wonder. Biden's approval figures have barely moved for the past year and a half, and a source of concern for a president pursuing a second term on his ability to govern and focus on workers. Hey, railroad workers, what's it like being screwed over by the Biden-Harris administration? He wants voters to connect local roads and bridge projects, factory construction, and rise of electric vehicles and renewable energy to the millions of dollars in initiatives he signed into law during his first 2 years of his administration. And this tells you about the, pride and ego that Biden has, and of course his administration have, in their whole identity. Bidenomics is about the future, he declared in his Wednesday speech to cheering supporters, being donors. That. By the way, vote blue no matter who. The people he was speaking to in that crowd, those are his real constituents, the people who give millions of dollars, not you people who say, vote for Biden because stop Trump. I can't wait to see these people start having their little panic attacks on social media. I'm being vindictive here and I'm being evil, but it's okay. I'm on my evil arc right now. Biden is just another way of saying, Bidenomics is just another way of saying restore the American dream. Hey, let's have democracy in the chat. Again, hey, type 3 if you think Bidenomics is just another way of saying restore the American dream. Type 3 if you love that. Type 4, God damn it. It's not restoring the American dream. We're falling deeper in the pit of neoliberalism. At the same time, he sought to paint previous Republican tax cuts as deeply flawed, saying they helped the rich but failed the middle class for decades, as the promised trickle-down benefits never seemed to come to the less wealthy. Well, gee, Biden, you were in the U.S. House of Representatives and Senate for quite some time. It could be argued you and some of your colleagues in the Democratic Party are more than willing to work with the Republican establishment for decades. It could be argued that you are one of the many architects of the reason why Americans are struggling day in, day out just to make ends meet. So this is Bidenomics. Now, of course, it's one thing to say that Bidenomics is a good economic plan, air quote, good. But let's check out the speech itself. And what I find hilarious is that this is a clip from Fox News where Fox, and again, Fox News is corporate media. By no means should any of us view Fox or CNN or MSNBC as the great titans of truth and justice. They're all the same. Corporate media is the same. But it's hilarious for Fox News because when you see stuff like this, you have to really address the fact that there is something wrong with Joe Biden. Let's pull this video up.
Hollowed out. I mean, literally hollowed out. All over the country, parents have to say to their, many of you, all elected officials, heard people tell you this, had to say to their children, honey, I lost my job. We can't live here anymore. We got to move. Trickle down also meant slashing public investment on things that help drive long-term growth and helped America lead the world in innovation. We used to invest 2% of our gross domestic product in research and development. By the time I came to office, that was down to 0.7%. We used to be #1 in the world in research and development. That's what we're known for. Now we rank #9 in the world. China decades ago was #8 in the world. Now it's #2 in the world. And other nations are closing in fast. We used to have the best infrastructure in the world, roads, bridges, et cetera. But then we fell to rated 13th best investment in infrastructure. 2 to 13.
Now, first, I want to give a special shout out to my guest co-host who is joining me for the show. Shout out to the great Pasta for being in here. How you doing, Pasta?
Thank you for calling me great. That was really nice. My coffee hasn't even kicked in, but that feels nice.
Good to have you here as well, my friend. So first and foremost, we're seeing the great Joe Biden talk about supposedly that America used to be great in these areas. Last I checked, for the past 30 years, starting from the 1970s, wasn't Joe Biden part of the political establishment, Pasta, or am I incorrect?
He's been part of the political establishment for quite some time. For quite some time. I mean, the guy's been in politics as long as I've been alive.
Not to mention, again, saying there's a huge decline. Gee, last I checked, Joe Biden, weren't you part of that? Weren't you part of helping out corporations rip apart the American middle class?
How can you have the best economy in the world without the best infrastructure in the world? How do you get product from one place to another? I was out in Pittsburgh recently, the city of bridges. Bridges collapsing all over the nation. You've seen on television, railroad bridges collapsing. Bidenomics, we're turning this around. We're supporting targeted investments. We're strengthening America's economic security, our national security, our energy security, and our climate security. I designed and we signed a bipartisan infrastructure law. It's already announced, and I heard some of the speakers before touting some of it. It's already announced 35,000 projects across the country. Think of it this way. Nearly a century ago, Franklin Roosevelt's Rural Electrification Act,
What?
rural electrification, brought electricity to millions of Americans in rural America.
I'll give him credit. He's able to speak to a crowd, but I don't understand what he's talking about. Do you understand what he's talking about, Pasta?
No, not at all. I mean, he's slurring his words, and at this point, who really even listens to this crap anymore? I mean, I just assume there's a bunch of oligarchs that sit in a room with their sidekicks, and
Yeah, I hear you.
they say, let's
yeah.
just feed the people a bunch of mishmash. You know what I'm saying? Just give them a bunch of words and just run on that crap. I guess. I don't know. I mean, I guess that so many Americans are so consumed and don't even care and unplug that he's getting away with this phony baloney stuff. Not him. The establishment is. It's terrible.
And especially when you see his mental decline. Now, look, I've had to see firsthand, not one, but 4 of my elder relatives battle dementia and Alzheimer's. I know the signs and what it looks like. And this video here, again, the fact that Obama and the Democrats are touting Biden as their guy, it should tell you that they don't respect the American people. This is their puppet. Case in point, this short 20-second clip.
Economic theory, 3/4 of U.S. industries grew more consecrated. I'm thinking I didn't go to mass.
Jesus, this is so embarrassing to watch. You're laughing at him.
They were moving to diminish competition.
There's that.
It's
And then
sad.
there's this. It's not only sad. Here, check this out. Sort of a confession, too. He turned in all of his notes, Pasta.
Yeah, Jesus.
I've long said, and I mean this, I was on the Tibetan Plateau with Xi Jinping. I traveled 17,000 miles with him. I've spoken with him more than any other head of state because it started when I was vice president. And President Hu was the president, and he was the vice president. We knew he was going to be successful. It was inappropriate for Barack to spend that time with him, but I spent a lot of time with him. I met alone with him, just he and I, and a simultaneous interpreter 68 times, 68 hours, 68 times, more than 68 hours. By the way, I turned in all my notes. I've long said.
Then, of course, he turned in all of his notes. But then there's also, again, clips of all of this right here. Like, again, this is true mental decline for a president. He has something wrong with him. Shame on his family and anyone that's been promoting him. Look, all 4 of these clips. You can't look me in the eye and tell me that Joe Biden is a functioning individual.
Putin may circle Kyiv with tanks, but he'll never gain the hearts and souls of the Iranian people. Whether or not they're pulling back from Fallujah and from the Kherson. We're dealing with it for a whole second. Inflation is a worldwide problem right now because of a war in Iraq and the impact on oil and what Russia's doing.
To what extent has Vladimir Putin been weakened by recent events? It's hard to tell, but he's clearly losing the war in Iraq. He's losing the war at home.
Losing the war in Iraq. He's trying to pull out of Fallujah, and Putin's trying to win the love of the Iranian people. This is the leader of the free world. Go ahead, Pasta. Take it away.
No,
buddy.
kid, I just think that that speech that he gave in the Senate floor to push people into Iraq, to stand behind George W. Bush's and the Wolfowitz doctrine, to go into Iraq to start destabilizing. This is what, the orders were. That speech is still living inside him, right? When he was on the floor hardcore. And
exactly.
I keep saying Iraq. It's just, kid, how long until people just get together and say, all right, that's it. Enough is enough. And what idiot, what social justice warrior, progressive idiot you got to be to support this guy at this point now? You know what I'm saying?
I can answer that for you. I can answer that for you right now.
Please.
So what the kind of person that is fully on board for Joe Biden is an individual that has lacked the ability to think critically. And we've seen these individuals before. They gained a lot of prominence during the Trump administration, where they could LARP to pretend to be a activist or a resistance fighter. And because of the, I guess, their quote unquote trauma and shock of Hill Dog losing to the Orange Cheeto, and no, I'm not going to be respectful to these politicians because they don't respect us. They felt vindicated that Biden defeated Donald Trump. But the truth is that these people were never serious. So they want to be comfortable. They don't want their worldview or how they view society to be challenging to them. They want to be asleep. And there's a lot of people that want to be just a simple sheep. Case in point, that's infamous scene from The Matrix where the guy wants to be plugged back in. He said ignorance is bliss, and there are a lot of people in this country that think that way, unfortunately, who just don't care, and they're okay with a corrupt president like Joe Biden being reelected because he's not part of the opposite team. But what people don't realize is that both teams are inherently corrupt. I want to give you the final word because, again, Biden was in my city talking to donors with his good friend Barack Obama, talking about Bidenomics. Your thoughts on Bidenomics? Your thoughts on a final word on this? Because the thing is, this cannot continue on. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm speechless. That's why, I just looked at Team Orca behind me and, hope that White Gladys will do something to save the day. I mean, really, Kit, what is there to say? It's like, when you had it up and I came on in, I was like, oh boy, here we go again. I mean, how long can they pull off this sham for? I mean, are people that stupid? Are they that dumb? I mean, come on, everybody.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
The answer is unfortunately yes. And to vote blue, no matter who voters, look, I'll give you credit for this. Your old dog can speak. It's just no one understands what he's saying. And now he has coined the term Bidenomics. Congratulations. Old man Biden gave his opponents plenty of political ammunition to use against him in campaign ads because, again, 34% approve of him or disapprove of him running the economy. And then there's also the fact that his approval rating is at 41%. Kamala's is even far lower. Congratulations, vote blue, no matter who. You hit that home run homer. You got Bidenomics. Good luck. Seriously, good luck.